It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. We got the squad in the building.
Yo.
Stefan Adon, always showing love.
Yo,
formerly
what's
known
happening?
as Ringo J. Of course, we got the super producer Joel Holt in the back. A lot of hits. And from downtown Indianapolis, not really. P-Kid in the chat. Kid, what's good?
What's happening, bro?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Hey, listen, boys. First off, we got to start the show off right, ladies and gentlemen. Clap it up for King Poles. Clap it up for King Poles. That's how you have a day, boys. That's how you have a day. My God. Yannick Ngakoue and Mercedes Lewis on the AARP plan. Stop playing with him. He's dominating out here. We got to talk about what Yannick Ngakoue does for this defense. Also, we got to look at what the expectations for this team is now going to be. And is this the 2023 version of the 2018 Khalil Mack acquisition? All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talk Chicago sports, hot Chicago talk. So make sure you get in tune with us. Stop playing with us.
Stop playing with the boy.
Let's go.
Let's go. You need me to adjust that mic a little bit for you? Feel like, wow, there you go, right there. Feel like you were like trying to reach it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like we could up the seat. Don't worry about it. Anyway, let's get up into this mug, man. Boys,
at least it's not sinking. At least it's not sinking.
At least it's not sinking. I fixed that chair. Shut up. Hey, boys, we got Yannick. This is a move that we knew was coming. We knew that the Bears were going to sign a pass rush, not specifically this move, but Ryan Poles, to me, waited out Yannick Ngakoue, gets him on a 1-year, $10.5 million deal. Of course, this news drops last night. Question to the chat, question everybody in here. What does this do for this Chicago Bears defense? What is this going to do for the players that we've added in the offseason, for the players that we had on our defensive line already? What are your thoughts on that? What does this do for this team?
Well, I think what it does automatically it just bolsters it. It makes the end room better. It makes the defensive room better. Everybody on that line, it absolutely makes them better. From now you got Yannick in the room. That's gonna make Dexter better. That's gonna make Pickens better, because we talked about the young guys, right?
Yeah.
How fast are the young guys gonna excel? And you're learning from a guy that's coming from a system. Those Colts team respectively dominated on defense. It was just the offense that we were worried that, we kept saying, oh, if they get this QB, they'll be able to excel. The Colts defenses excelled when Yannick was in there. So I mean, everywhere he's gone, he's elevated the defense. I think it'll elevate the young guys. Now, when we talk about the absolute the pass rush aspect of it, right? Now you're talking about, oh, well, the one thing that Eberflus mentioned in his press conference. Now we want the secondary to be ball hawks. That means we got Brisker, Eddie Jackson, Jalen Johnson can go do what those guys have been built to do, especially Eddie. We talked about the 2018 team.
Yep.
And he's come out, he had a career year that year. So this basically just eases everybody's mind about if they got the pass rusher, but not only that, this will help them excel, and especially for some of those vets that are on the team, like a Jalen Johnson or Eddie Jackson, this will be able to get them more comfortable and back to their roles that they were in previous in 2018.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I agree with everything like that. I agree with everything Anderson Pat just said. I didn't realize that man was actually going to come here and be a sports analyst at this point, but it's exactly what
I'm just bringing the drip. That like,
I had to do it.
Hey, kid, he said, "Yes, Lord."
Hey, man, there's a drum set somewhere. Anyway,
somewhere.
It's one thing I will say, if we can get a little volume on Pat's mic, that'd be great. One thing I will say is this totally, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun. If I am, tell me to shut up. For me, it solidified the fact that we have the right guy at the helm. Look at what ultimately this move does, what we got him for. Pat did a great video where he had a lot of passion, 36 inches of bear head behind him that he ripped
Say
off
that
the
the
wall
right way,
for it.
dog. Don't say that the wrong way.
Pause. But like, hey, 36 inches of bear head he ripped off the wall because he was so excited about this particular move. But it just goes to show you how what competency looks like. And I know we've harped on that a lot this particular offseason, but let's just be real. We went from Ryan Pace, who, I mean, he won some awards and stuff like that, but he ain't do what Ryan Poles just did.
Yeah.
And so you see how we've gone from a strategic tank to a great rebuild, him staying poised, not necessarily feeling pressured to actually make a move for another QB, even though there was a hot, rumor around that. How he sold off the defense last year and pretty much get it back and look like what we end up with. Like we're kind of right back in the same situation with the retooled defense and things of that nature. We were talking about this defense being potentially top 15, maybe. I think now we can arguably say that we have a fighting chance of being top 10. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, to me, like now all of a sudden you're talking about this defense as a defense that has a ton of depth, right? Like I think the linebacker room is still a big question mark, but I think you're 100% right. Like I was talking about this defense coming in without an edge rusher because I got to the point where I just was like, they're probably not going to add one, I guess, at this point. Maybe they feel confident about what they have. And I had them top 15 because I think that when you see the DBs, when you see how they're setting out the scheme, you can see a lot of things that look like they're going to go the Bears' way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, by the way, I only got 51 people. Y'all see this production that's being put on right now? We only got 51 people in this live. Y'all share this thing, man. Hey, listen, don't be that person. Don't be a hater. Share, like, y'all know what to do, man. Let's get back into it. Looking at the other thing I want to mention is a simple fact that we're all big on the one signing, but tell me a little bit about Mercedes and what he ultimately means for. Dive a little deeper into that one if you don't mind.
There's no depth. Mercedes Lewis is a blocker.
Mercedes.
He's talking about Mercedes Lewis.
I was legit.
Yeah, there's no depth.
He's my age.
He is your age, legitimately. He's a blocker. He's a blocker. You know what I mean? Like he's somebody to help Darnell Wright on the right side. He's a good blocker. He was in Jacksonville with Yannick. He's somebody to bridge the gap. That's pretty much all it is there. What you were saying, Joe?
My initial thought is that this kind of puts them in a great spot where they're still. I think this moves them from maybe top 15 to in that top 10 range because you got a guy that can average 7, 8, 9 sacks a season. So you're still in a great spot. If Fields is the guy, then we could take that pick because Yannick is a stopgap. We still want to compete for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we can use him for 1 year. Maybe he's good. He's only 29, 30 years old?
Who?
28.
Okay,
Yannick's
so
28.
Why he got a 1 year deal, something says there's something wrong there. That he didn't get at least 3 or 4 years to go to 32. But on top of that, I feel that now you got this number 1 pick next year. So you can either go for the best defensive end to pair maybe with him if he stays.
Yeah.
And then Fields is the guy, but we're still in a great spot.
Now you go Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm still on that. I don't
care.
I
think
you go Marvin Harrison Jr.
Hey, that's the consensus.
Because here's the thing: do you want the Chase Claypool will probably be here. Darnell Mooney might be here, or Darnell Mooney will probably be here, and Chase Claypool might not be here. You're probably not keeping both of them. Especially if I can go get Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Because here's the thing now.
Is as advertised.
You want to know what's unstoppable that I've seen at training camp 10 times out of 10? Chase Claypool on a slant is one of the most unstoppable forces that I've seen. Like, what are you gonna do? To me, I'm like, let me go get Marvin Harrison over there. Let me have DJ Moore over here. We'll throw Chase Claypool down here in the slot, and I think that the Bears are looking like a Bengals offense in that situation. But that's a whole different thing, right? To me, when you start off here with the Yannick Ngakoue, the main thing for me with where this Bears team is at right now is that my biggest question coming into all of this was you went out and you got these blue chip players, right? You got Tremaine Edmonds, you got TJ Edwards. These are going to be the guys that are leading your linebacking core. You've got this DB room that looks like it's going to be a star-studded DB room, but pressure does that, right? Kyle Fuller has his breakout season that gets him paid because Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks are sacking quarterbacks left and right. They're setting sack records. They're one of the best defenses the Chicago Bears has ever seen. All of a sudden, Kyle Fuller's job is what? Oh, I gotta pick this ball up that gets tipped at the line because that guy's dead down there. So now I just gotta grab it as it falls into my arm. Oh, I could do that 8 times in a season. That's what pressure does for you. And so for me, now all of a sudden you've got Yannick Ngakoue. I looked at the guys in the backside, and I think that's crazy. Wow. I looked at the guys behind Yannick Ngakoue. That was a crazy one right there. We made it 10 minutes before I had to throw one out there. Don't worry about it. I look at the guys behind Yannick Ngakoue, and I feel more confident that they're going to be able to go out there. Shut up, kid. He tried to hold it. He tried to make it through. That's the best part. He tried to make it through. I look at him as a guy who is going to be able to cause that havoc in the backfield, which makes your DB's lives easier, which makes your linebackers' lives easier. Mm-hmm. But also, I thought you had DeMarcus Walker. I thought you had Rasheem Green. Those are 2 guys coming in that had both had 7 sack seasons last year, right? But you didn't see those guys be the main guy, which is the reason why the 7 sacks were gotten. Somebody else was the number 1 on that defense that was getting the focus. With them coming in being the number 1, I was like, I don't know if you get back to 7 sacks.
Yeah.
With Yannick Ngakoue now on this team, now all of a sudden to me, DeMarcus Walker's a dominant 2 again. He's gonna have the best time on the opposite side.
It's like Agulier with like Alex Brown.
Yeah,
they got Agulier back. No, I'm thinking. Well, no,
that's right. Agulier and Alex Brown. Peppers. They remember that we got rid of both of them for Julius.
Right. So yeah, it was when Agulier, but Agulier. Yeah, he plays off, so it gives Alex Brown more ticks. So because he was like a 7-8 sack kind of guy, so it's still a good defense, and it probably makes us balanced.
No, 100%, man, 100%. I'm excited about what it's going to do for this defensive line. I'm not going to lie to you. I said this on the Chicago Bears podcast today. The best thing that the Chicago Bears did for that Mitch Trubisky offense was go get Khalil Mack. Because it puts you in short fields.
He couldn't draw the ball down the field.
It puts you in short fields. When Mitch had to drive 90 yards, you were in trouble.
Yeah, but he could use his legs. He extended a lot of plays, a lot of broken plays.
I mean, I get you, but what I'm saying is right. Like when you've got to do that from the 20 of your own side of the field and drive down, it makes it a lot harder to go 80 than if I get the ball at the 50 because somebody's going for it on 4th down, or we get a turnover, and all of a sudden we're bringing it back.
Pat loves to exaggerate that error and make it seem as if he always started at the 50, which is just not true. But I love Pat anyway. Anyway,
2018.
Listen, in 2018, he spent a lot of time on the right side of the field.
He was.
Hey, listen. It's like 4 games, but like I get you.
4 games, what?
Hey, no, I called cap on that because I was at Pat House every Sunday. We watched them games.
That's literally like the 3rd best defense in Chicago Bears history.
Anyway.
Money
Mitch is not getting slandered.
It's a stopgap move to keep us. I think it says we're going to go to the playoffs, and Ryan Poles is saying, Fields, let's see where you're at.
Well, there's no more excuses.
That's what I'm saying. It should make him viable. I don't know why he only got a 1-year deal if he's 28. So there's something about that.
There's something there, and there's probably something that's coming from past teams.
I got good speculation if you all let me.
What up?
Because if it doesn't work out, I don't have to pay a QB. I can draft one. If it does work out, I get to extend my QB. I get to work some contracts, and we get to run it back a different way. He gave himself so many outs, but the way he's doing it, that's the 4D chess that I'm talking about. Like, no one wants to hear it, but like, yeah, if Justin Fields doesn't work out, they're gonna make a move for one of the QBs coming out of the next draft, which a lot of people are rating pretty high.
What's going to happen is if that Panthers pick is high again, and they're going to trade down and get multiple picks again, because now they got that. If that quarterback's that great, they get the top 1 or 2.
Yeah,
they're going to move down again.
You talking about Caleb Williams?
Well, you're saying if things work out, they're going to do that.
If things work out, yeah, I can see that. If things don't work out, I got another way to plug in a QB.
Yeah, he's saying
in this
that if things don't
situation.
work out, you can go get Caleb Williams. You can reset yourself at the quarterback. Here's what here's the one thing that he is doing, and this is what I will be 100% honest with Ryan Poles. He's setting himself up very much like the 49ers are set up, where it doesn't matter who I put in there. That's how the Bears are starting to set things up. Now, you got to get the offensive line right. You're hoping that the dynamic that you have here is a good one. But the kid's not wrong in that. They are setting this thing up as if, because guys get hurt, like Trey Lance did, we're going to self-insulate. And we're going to self-insulate on both sides of the football. The problem is every Bears team that we've ever had only self-insulated on one side of the football.
Thank you, Pat, and thank you, Steve-O, for it's not no hate against anything. You have to understand that the GM's job is not to sit there and get emotionally attached to any one particular person. You actually can't if you're going to be really good at that job, because you know what would have happened if he was emotionally tied to everybody? We probably still have half the defense of last season. So, like, he's not emotionally tied to these people. He can't be.
Not really, because he didn't draft any of the defense that we got rid of or bring it in. Like, realistically, this would be the year that he would be emotionally tied to people.
Yeah.
And because this is his first draft class that he's going to see coming back. Now, the good thing about Ryan Poles is he's not pulling a Ryan Pace where he's so emotionally tied to people that he's just second year in their career. He's just giving them the break the bank contract. I think Tariq Cohen ended up getting $38 million out of us. Tariq Cohen got the Cristiano Felicio money.
Like, no one ever thought. You said it yourself. Yannick got a 1-year, $10 million contract. Was he not worth more to the market?
Apparently not. And that's why, and honestly, that's the realistic part of this, right? Like, this is why I love how Ryan Poles is going about this, because Yannick Ngakoue is a monster. There's no tape you could put on where you're not telling you Yannick Ngakoue doesn't get to the quarterback. Now, I know people are concerned about him in the run game with the run defense, all of that stuff. Maybe he's not playing on first down. Maybe he's playing on 2nd and 7. Maybe he's playing on 3rd and 5, right? Where you have to pass the football. But I have a guy that I can put in that when they have to pass the football, he wreaks havoc. And that leads to interceptions. That leads to the ball going the other way. That leads to balls getting knocked down because you let the ball go too early. And you're pairing this with a guy in Tremaine Edmonds in the middle that Justin Fields talked about Tremaine Edmonds. And there was a practice where Tremaine Edmonds just knocking stuff down over the middle. And Justin just came. He had a smile on his face when he said it. He said, literally, if I throw that ball to any other linebacker in the NFL, it gets through. But because it was Tremaine in the middle, the ball gets knocked down. And so you're starting to see this Bears team build a defense how they want to. Build a defense in a way that this team is going to be able to utilize for years to come. And when it comes to Yannick, right, he wants a place where he can be at long term. I think that he does. But, I think I don't know what his mentality is or how he is in the locker room. He seems like a guy where everywhere he goes about his business. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's a bad teammate, because the dumbest thing in the world is when people go out and say, oh, this guy's a bad teammate. His teammates don't like him because he does this or he does that. And that's the narrative that got started about Russell Westbrook. And no teammate says that. In fact, they all just go, he's one of the best teammates we've ever had.
Like,
so
who's saying this?
You know what I mean? So I never want to jump on that he's a bad teammate, but there's something about him that people don't want to keep around long term. I don't know what that is. And I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we've got him here. Where do you see this Bears defense now ranking among the NFL?
I think it goes somewhere in that top 10-ish rank. I mean, they put a lot of – it might start off slightly slow with having all the rookies, but they got some pieces. Like, have we seen it where we have a full complement of secondary, like safeties and the corners?
2018.
No. Like, I'm saying the whole thing.
2018.
No, 2018. No, 2018 was crazy.
On the 2018?
No, what weaknesses on that 2018 defense?
Leonard Floyd was not that great.
It didn't matter though. The center and the left side of the line,
but we didn't go any. We got to the first round of the playoffs and lost.
That don't change the fact that during the regular season, that was one of the best defenses. Now,
what I'm saying,
they were bad. That offense was so bad you couldn't do much. But 2018 was your. That was a defense where you were strong at every
Yes.
layer of the defense.
What I'm getting at is that this team they're right there.
Yeah.
We got talent and I'm comparing this to the 05 or 06 season team because they had a great defense, but then with them getting hurt, we lost Mike Brown.
Yeah.
But even then, our safety, I think, was Harris. He was okay. We had Peanut Tillman, Urlacher, of course, but we could never get that third linebacker because it was like Hunter Hillenmeyer.
Hunter Hillenmeyer was out there.
But in this cover 2, Tampa 2 type defense, we might actually have the full complement of talent. I'm not saying that, Doc Ngakoue is like the Julius Peppers or anything like that, but I think he's capable.
Well, I think that's a good question, right? Is this Ryan Poles, Khalil Mack signing for this defense, right? Is this comparable to, because what that signaled was we're going for something. It's not we're taking our time. It's not, is signing Khalil Mack the same as, is signing Yannick Ngakoue the same as Ryan Pace going out and getting Khalil Mack?
Okay, so for me, I would say I would say I'm gonna go yes and no, because when they sign,
that's not enough. Relax there, Dan Orlovsky. Hey, he might be the worst quarterback in the
yes
NFL,
and
but he
no,
might be the MVP.
Honestly, I'm gonna go. Okay. So if that's the case, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say no. The Khalil Mack signing, like, while it was great, it was like legit play one day one. He gets a sack on Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's going crazy. I think for this though, the Yannick signing legit. The Max signing was, we're gonna go out and we're going to absolutely try to win now. Like, this defense is ready and built to win now. I feel like the Yannick signing is more so we're trying to win, but at the same time, like, we got these other young pieces. So, like, I feel like we're on the cusp of trying to do that, but it's also like we gotta see. Like,
I think that
we got to see it, because everything else, like, it's like Joe said, like, the pieces are in place. You now have it where you're talking about. You was just talking about it the other day. Sanborn misses time. Sewell steps up. And now you got that third linebacker. Even if Jack Sanborn comes back at that point, and one of them doesn't play, you're talking about the depth. Now you got a fourth. If one of them does get hurt, I think if we're talking about where they're going to be, when it's all said and done in the season, I would probably say right outside of the top 10. So I'll probably say 12. I'll probably say 12 or 13. But that's a playoff team in my that's a playoff defense in my opinion.
That's winning the division. This should be a capable team, and I think that no, it's not the same effect as Mac, but he's the part that get us to when we get Mac.
Yeah.
He is the other defensive end we need to have the 4 complementary linemen. So we got the 2 rookies. He has enough, hopefully, experience. And then you said, what was it, Dominique Robinson on the other end?
Dominique Robinson or Travis Gibson is probably coming on the other side.
That's the 7-8 sack guy.
Yeah.
We still need that.
DeMarcus Walker too.
We need that killer. So he's a good piece that we need.
Go ahead.
You know what? I'm just answering your question directly. I think this is one of those moves where he fits a particular need to help us be competitive. Like, if our offense, let's just put this on the table. If we have the offensive game that we think we will have going into it, we have all the pieces on the defense for us to be competitive. I think you made this point a few shows ago that if you had a top 10 offense, you have to have like a top 15 defense to kind of be competitive, or vice versa, right? Just to make the playoffs, and then for those who actually win the Super Bowl, it was a top at one. They had a top 5 of something, top 10 of something, and I think this puts us on the cusp of that. Like, if Justin Fields really gets that offense rolling, our defense is tooled enough for us to be competitive and get stops at the right time, for it to be one of those things where one helps the other and not just solely leaning on other. And I think he does that, because we didn't get to the QB a lot last year. at all outside of PP.
he comes in. We had 6.5 sacks last season from our defensive line in total.
has 10.
He comes in with 10.
He fills that gap. So now we get pressure on the QB for our defense to actually do what they need to do. What's the boy's name? He's real good. We drafted him last year. Come on, talk to me.
We drafted him last year on defense.
Yeah.
Jaquan
Brisker.
Maybe. Anyway, listen,
Gordon?
we allow them to do what they need to do by getting pressure on the QB. And that's the biggest thing. Like, look at the games that we lost. And we lost by like one score, and we didn't get real pressure on the QB. That changes now. Yeah. That changes simply from him. That's not even looking at offense. Just from a defensive perspective, we have enough pressure now for those games where we lost by one score or a late game to totally have a different outcome. And that's exciting if you're a Bears fan, because now it's like no matter what, we have enough. We've insulated this situation enough where we have multiple chances to actually get etch out a win, and it's not just on one side of the ball.
Well, and that's why I say that I do think that this is on the par of Khalil Mack, right?
And it was Brisker, by the way.
I don't think that it's the same, right? But why I do think it's on par with Khalil Mack, or in that same line of thinking, is because Yannick Ngakoue makes the rest of this defense better. That's what Khalil Mack did, right? Remember, Kyle Fuller, we thought he was terrible. We thought he was okay, right? He was like, he's all right. Like,
I thought he was good.
He plays cornerback, but I never thought that he was, you got to pay this guy when he's up for a contract. But all of a sudden, when he came up for a contract and Khalil Mack's there, and I believe he had 8 interceptions that season, something like that. Now it's like, well, we got to pay this guy. All of a sudden, we turn this guy.
Trayvon before Trayvon.
Trayvon before Trayvon, right? So for me, I do think that this is on par with going out and getting a guy like Khalil Mack, because I think it allows other guys on your defensive line to be better. I think opposite of him, you got 2 guys in DeMarcus Walker, Rasheem Green. I think that Travis Gibson might be able to even have a bounce back season, because when Travis Gibson was at his best, he had 7 sacks, 2 seasons ago. You know, he was a guy who, you know, was benefiting off of what the defense had, well, off of the Khalil Macks, off of, right? So I'm not surprised off of Akeem Hicks being in there. I think that this is the move that makes the rest of your defense show what they can do.
Well, you got a D-line. We finally will have the D-line is kind of almost built.
Yeah.
And then you can make it better. Like that D-line is probably good enough to work, but then it's also like with next year, we're going to end up getting, you know, another person to help. You know, we get a prized rookie. Maybe there's a free agent signing that comes in that really takes that defense over the top. It's a good defensive line.
Yeah.
And if the 2 rookies can do their part, because we need that penetration from the 2 gap or the nose tackle coming up. So that's where I think we have a competent D-line that makes the secondary better. It makes everybody better.
Yeah, and you have to go out there and be able to get that pressure up the middle. They've made a focus at that. And this is just like, hey, we had to do something at the edge. We might as well go out and get the best. And I love that Ryan Poles waited them out, man. 116 in the building, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this joint. Appreciate y'all for showing love as always, man. All right, so we've talked about 2 of the 3 topics here, man. And I think that this is the real one where it comes down to what we're going to see this season. What do you think the expectation is of the front office of this team now? Is this we're going all in, we're trying to make a run in the playoffs? Or is this we're just removing the expectation, or we're removing all the excuses from Justin Fields, and it's still just about the development of Justin Fields?
I think this is above 500. This is a let's get a 500 or above type situation. You can't control ultimately where you land if other teams are performing well as well. Everyone thinks that the Detroit Lions are going to have a monster season, and there's no reason to think that they won't, right? Shout out to Don Burr, although I hate to say that. There's no reason to think that the Detroit Lions won't have a good season. So with that being the case, you're going to have some competition there. There's no reason to think that the Vikings won't have a decent season.
No,
so
I think that they're gonna be bad. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I kind of get that feeling though, but like until we see it, I got to give him credit.
He's just hype on Jordan Addison. That's what it is.
I'm hype on Jordan Addison. I'm hype on Justin
Jefferson. Jordan Addison, the dog. I ain't gonna
Jordan is the dog.
I'll tell you who I'm not hype on is Kirk Cousins.
Hey,
listen. I think that it's gonna be a season of they went 12-1 in 1-score games. That's unheard of.
It's crazy.
It's
but
literally
you gotta give
impossible to do. I don't know how they did it.
You got to give him credit though. Like Kurt was getting that ball to Justin Jefferson. He now has another big target. Like they've made some interesting moves, but until we actually see, that's a team like we have to see. We have to see what they ultimately look like. If Kurt is going off the deep end, then we know what it's going to be. But if Kurt is out there blazing, it's going to be a long season, and it's going to be an interesting fight within the NFC North. So at this point, like I think this is one of those we're going to be as competitive as possible. You know, I'm not saying playoff or bust type situation, but it's definitely like I think you had them at like 7-9 or something like that.
Who, the Vikings?
You had the Bears. I'm talking. You had the Bears at 7-9.
Bears? Yeah, I had the Bears at 7-10 before this move.
I think this is an 8-8.
I had that as their floor, basically. Like you should be able to win 7 games. You should be able to fall out of bed and win 7 games this season.
This is like an 8-win season minimum type situation, in my opinion.
If this dude is talking about 4,000 yards and this defense is actually top, 15, this is a 11 win on the high side. They should be. The NFC North is I think competitive of the division, but I don't think the Packers are going to necessarily make that much noise, and I don't believe that the Vikings are actually going to do anything. I think they're going to regress.
Oh, I think the Vikings are going to fall back to earth. But the one thing I will say is I also just can't say that the rest of the league is just going to lie down and die and let the Bears get 11 wins in there. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of other teams out there that we play. And I'm not saying that this schedule is saying that we can't win 11 wins. I think that you could find your way to 11 wins if you get off to a really good start. There's some wins on this schedule that we might have as losses that might end up being wins, right? Like I'm not going to lie to you. I completely don't have the Bears losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. But most of that was based on the fact that I thought you weren't going to have pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Now you might have pressure on Patrick Mahomes. The problem is still at the end of the day, it's Pat Mahomes. Pressure really doesn't matter.
15.
Now you woke up the wrong one.
I think this is a playoff.
I'm here. I'm here.
These moves say it's make or break. If Fields is who he's supposed to be, which
hey Joe, talking to the mic for me. Talking to the mic for me.
Well, how about now?
That sounds better.
Yeah, I don't.
That's weird. I don't know.
Okay,
but in the thing is that that push to me, he dropped $10 million a year on this guy. This is a make or break to say, all right, Fields. Hopefully, we can extend this guy, and we got to go to the playoffs. There is no. This isn't a 7-win season is a disappointment. I mean, the Panthers, they went 3-13 and go 13-3 the next year when they had the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
and they have been retooling and they got better. So I think they laid down last year. Last year they were a 7-win team. They just said, you know what, we're smart enough to figure out how to get a pick. We don't need to play it super hard. So no, this should be a competitive playoff contending team, not an NFC Championship contender, but at least a playoff contender.
This changes a lot. I think for me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm looking at a 9 wins should be able to get them to the playoffs. I'm not gonna lie. To the playoffs. The only reason why I'm changing my tune, I think 9 wins is doable, and the only reason why I'm changing my tune,
is 9 wins you're not winning the division. 10 wins to me wins the division.
Okay, I think that they can get 10 because this is the thing. I'm looking at everything else. Jameson Williams out 6 games. Right now Minnesota looks good on paper. You really don't know what's gonna happen with that. Yes, they got Jay Jettas. They got Jay Jettas and they got TJ, but they don't have that defense figured out, and it's getting older. It's getting older. Detroit, you know what? Why they did add some other pieces. CJ Gardner-Johnson got hurt.
Yeah.
They still don't have another pass rusher. Who did you replace TJ with a tight end? I mean, so those are the things I'm looking at, and when it comes down to the Packers, everything legitimately hinges on Jordan Love. So it's like, to me, J-Mo missing 6 games. You can get off to a. I'm not going to say, I'm not coming out the gate saying that they're going 7-1 or anything, but 4-2 in the first 6.
You can go 4-2.
The crazy thing about this, I'm looking at the schedule now, and for me, I looked at this last night when we made this particular acquisition, and it changed my perspective on how I looked at certain matchups. Like for instance, I thought we would split Vikings. I think we have a chance to sweep them, mainly because Kirk Cousins is not mobile. We have someone to put pressure on him, and if we stick with that and we're successful at that, obviously they have a line there as well. But that Kirk Cousins under pressure don't look good. Like he just don't. Right, he ain't got the legs for it. I look at the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield to me don't scare me. With pressure on him, he just don't.
Yeah.
I'll say
My
this.
thing, yeah, but Baker got that same team he had in Cleveland thote.
I'll say
I
this.
feel more. I actually feel better
keeps-
about
if
rolling
he
into the
keeps his head
Panthers
down-
and not caring about what's his name looks like. And I'm not even thinking about that matchup now because I don't think he's going to have the line to protect him.
I'll say this though. Listen, in the history of this cover two beats all the bad quarterbacks. Only the really good quarterbacks can beat the cover two defense.
Yeah.
So you can figure out what record we're going to get based off of who we're playing. So average quarterbacks, bad to average quarterbacks, do have a problem with the cover two. So that's going to tell us what our season's going to be.
I honestly feel like the only reason we don't win the division is because the Lions have an easier schedule.
Bro, you put a lot of stock. That like
I ain't gonna lie to you. The Lions is a prove it to me team. Like I feel good about them. I feel like they're gonna be a good team. But I've also watched the Lions my whole life.
They might be reading.
I've watched the Lions my whole life.
Jameson?
I'll never forget Matthew Stafford getting to the first round with Megatron, and they lose in the first round. But all the hope was on that team. I think they had Reggie Bush that next season. It was supposed to be the lights out Lions. All of a sudden, they was coming out dominating. Here we go, and I think they won 6 games the next year.
yeah. And I think I
the Lions are the Clippers. That's a bar.
No, I was saying they
Lions
read
are the Clippers. Yep.
The Lions are the Clippers, bro.
But even look, the Chargers, that game looks different to me now. Herbert don't look good with pressure.
Hey, hold on. Ain't
I had that as a loss.
Ain't Justin Herbert one of his guys though?
No, not really.
Nah, he don't really rock with Justin Herbert like that. I don't think so. Has he been overhyped on Herbert?
Not at all. I've always said, what has he done? But like I said, he slings appeal. But like outside of that, for him to be top, they made him top 5.
Nah.
No, they made him like
up
top.
there with
He was
Derek
like 6. I was like,
When we had
what
that
has he done to be
conversation about
6?
Derek Carr, he was like, yeah, no, it's him, it's Derek Carr, it's Justin Herbert. I forgot who else he was talking about because he kept saying,
listen,
I'm like, yeah, no, Justin Herbert's doing
Nah,
fat.
you got the wrong-
Only
you got
thing
the
I
wrong
love,
person,
only
boy.
thing that I love is that I'm pretty sure kids Derek Carr love will die this season. But
Oh no, for sure. He's gonna
down
do
in
it
New Orleans,
mid-game.
and I don't have high hopes for that team either. I'm like, you got to show me something. Like I said,
He gonna do it mid-game just like he did Mitch. He was like, yes, Sunday, 4:30. Sunday 4:30.
this
I'm done.
I covered 12. I'm calling it.
Mitch,
Hey,
Mitch had the prove it game with the Steelers. I was like, come on, Mitch, come on. Yeah, you ain't do it. All right, cool. That's it. All right, you're done. You're done.
You was hype on Herbert, bro.
But hold on. But you do realize that my entire narrative now is shifting based off of, for one, let's just give credit where credit is due. Again, reemphasize that King Post has put together a great lineup.
Absolutely.
And retooled in a way. He's done it faster than I thought he'd be able to do it. And I think this is it almost borderline historic if you really think about it. I also want to sit there and just say he's put Justin in a situation where it's just not on Justin. It's not just all on Justin, which is a good and bad thing because now it's like, hey, Justin only has to worry about being the best player he can be. He don't have to worry about compensating. He don't have to worry about, do I trust to throw to this guy? You got the guys to throw to. Am I going to sit there and get my face beat in every time I snap this ball? I think we got a line. We have to see it. Am I going to have to worry about outscoring the other QB every single time? I don't think he has to worry about that because we have a decent defense now.
But here's the thing. That don't
He's
matter.
insulated him so much to actually just succeed and play ball. And that's what I like about it. He's done it the right way.
Balance. We have a balanced team. Just the difference is that we have an offensive identity now. So now you've put pieces around to fit the offensive identity. So before in years past, we always watched this hodgepodge of, you might even get a quarterback, but then you don't even put a system in that works for his skill set. So at least we have someone in there that's trying to maximize Justin Fields. You've given him the weapons that we need. And then we got a defense. We've always had a good defense over the years. It doesn't take long to really build a defense.
Yeah.
But this is a balanced squad. I mean, with a receiving core, a quarterback with 2, maybe 3 tight ends. The line still – it sounds like we might be giving the line a little bit too much praise. But
Which one?
No, just the O-line. The O-line,
I mean, it's fine if they're healthy.
It's right.
It's fine if they're healthy.
But the point is, this is a balanced squad. I think V-Dog had asked me a question. If Fields does well, he's going to pay whatever the market rate is. I don't know. He's not going to get $500 million, a half a bill.
Yeah.
But he's going to pay whatever.
Well, it depends on how well he does, right? Like, listen,
well.
it's like we said yesterday. An average game for Justin Fields this season is 4,000 yards.
He got it for 4,000 yards.
For 4,000 yards, 235
game.
yards a game. That's it. Like his 17 games. It's not the old NFL no more, right? So it's not that hard to do. Like, I'm not gonna say that it's hard to do, right? But like, it's not. It's what average QBs in the NFL.
It's no longer special.
It's no longer a special thing. It's only special to us. 12 teams in this NFL have had 5,000-yard passes. The Chicago Bears have yet to even have a 4,000-yard passer. That's how bad it's been. So it's nothing crazy to me. And to me, right, I will say this: it's still on Justin Fields. It still will fall on Justin Fields' shoulders. That's the curse of being a quarterback, right? Guess what? Was everything in Oakland Derek Carr's fault? Probably not. But who do we look at? Who's the guy that we blame? Who's the guy that we say came up short in the beginning of those games, right? That my favorite thing is when we bring up the where he's got the most game-winning drives of anybody in the NFL over this last span. Like, that means he had to win the game. That means he was down. That means
who is we? Nah, not we. He.
No, it's not just kid. Like, a lot of people bring that up about Derek Carr, and it's the dumbest thing.
Bring that up because defense.
It's the dumbest thing in the world to me because when you watch the Oakland Raiders games, they be losing 21-15.
They be
losing because ain't nobody scoring. Like yes, there's times where it's like you lose the game and it's a major comeback, but it's very rare. A lot of them are Oakland games where you lost. But what I'm saying is, right, like everything that happened in Oakland is not Derek Carr's fault. You want to know what happened to Derek Carr last season? They added Josh McDaniels. He's garbage. He's a terrible head coach. Anybody confused on that? Anybody concerned by that? Thanks for checking out here. I said Oakland, my bad. Thanks for checking on me out here in Vegas. I'm still a piece of garbage. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on out there in Vegas, dog. Like, he's terrible. Like, he's one of the worst head coaches I've ever seen in my life. Well, no. Hack it.
No.
Urban Meyer.
You said head coach?
Is Urban Meyer a worse head coach than Nathaniel Hackett was?
No, because he got fired. He got fired sooner, didn't he?
Who's the defensive coordinator now? He lost every game for the Lions. Don Burr, tell us.
Oh, you talking about Matt?
Nah, but you know what though?
He lost every game.
Did lose every game, but that team was spunky.
A spunky loser?
Hey, for sure. No, 100%.
Oh, the
Vegas Raiders were just garbage.
They were sneaky fast.
Hey, they had Derek Carr and Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, Devontae Adams,
Josh Jacobs. Yeah, that was
Hunter
just
Renfro.
Yeah.
Max Crosby on one side, Chandler Jones on the other.
Listen. That Denver team has the same team, and we're looking at them like, wow, they have so much talent.
Just one change. Who changed the coach?
Why aren't they throwing it to Jerry Jeudy? I don't have.
It's bad when a coach comes in, says you're bad on national TV, and has to apologize.
Did
Sean Payton had to apologize.
No, he didn't apologize.
I didn't see an apology.
He said, "I regret. I regret saying."
Oh, that's not an apology.
That's not an apology, bro. Come on now.
Hey, listen. You know what that is? I regret telling y'all the truth. That's what that was right there.
He's still
nobody's
trying.
The worst head coach than Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan went the AFC
what
title
are
game.
you talking about? Bro, come on now.
He's a Cowboy fan.
He had a horrible quarterback.
Sanchez, he
Hey.
did the most he could with that.
Hey, and this is the funny thing about that, right? This really tells you about, and this is why I say if Justin Fields is successful here, like somebody asked me the other day, they said, what's it going maybe it was Kid. It was like, what's it gonna take for him to be a superstar? Oh, yeah, we were having a superstar conversation. Yeah. If Justin Fields is an average quarterback, he's the greatest thing Chicago's ever seen. Because he's above average running with his legs. Right. So like he's exceptional as a mobile guy. So if he's just average, like he's the greatest quarterback Chicago's ever seen, we will put him in the rafters. He will be like the greatest thing since sliced bread because he's here in Chicago. That's what Mark Sanchez was with the Jets. Like I remember every year being like, is Mark Sanchez a good quarterback?
Hey, I remember they also get that boost for beating the Patriots, right? They didn't beat the Patriots.
Was like legit. That
he had a year with the Patriots. He had a year with the Bears. Who's the worst? Yeah, that's a tough question.
Trestman was not the worst.
This is a good question here. Who's the worst? Urban Meyer, Hackett, or Trestman?
Trestman was not one of the worst.
Urban Meyer.
Trestman
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer didn't even have his locker room.
Defense. We had Mel Tucker trying to run Lovie Smith's defense.
Yeah,
and we actually put up points.
Yeah,
we had Brandon Marshall,
but he was terrible. Though.
Yeah, he was.
I think he's a good OC.
He's an OC.
He was a good OC. He was a terrible head coach. Yeah, he's not the worst. He's not the worst. I don't know, bro. Hackett is tough, bro. Think about that. Nathaniel Hackett had so many people. Nathaniel Hackett had literally just star talent at almost every position coming into that season. And they were one of the worst teams that we've seen in football. They just looked incompetent.
But you knew it was gonna be bad. Their first game was on Monday Night Football, and they had a chance to win it. And I think
he didn't call timeout in time.
Yeah, it was that, and then instead of giving the ball to Russ, he was like, "Nah, I'm finna we finna kick this field."
I don't know if Urban's the worst because Urban's team wasn't good.
Nah,
either.
Bro, because you lost.
Urban Meyer team wasn't good
after. Mind you, he was supposed to be a quarterback whisperer.
But that's just because he's a piece of garbage. Trevor had nothing to do with him being the worst.
Trevor had just
prestige worldwide.
You know, they was like, oh, he's gonna be able to help him turn Trevor into trash, and then come out. Doug Peterson got the man looking like sunshine again.
I mean, I get you, but I don't think that makes him the worst. That makes him a piece of garbage for being in the bar doing what he did with somebody else. Oh, by the way, Damon came in with the Rod Marinelli for the coach you were asking.
Kicking players too, bro.
He was kicking players, the player kicking. But I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Let's have this.
Kicking players seriously, dog.
As a man that lifts a lot of weights. You just letting people come up and kick you?
Nah,
or as a kicker that literally kicks for a living. Like I'm kicking you back. I'll break your leg.
That's true.
I'll take your knees out. You're 67 years old.
I'm tripping. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what I mean? Like I'll take you out. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love to another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily, man. Let's finish it out on this. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Boys,
what's up?
Does this raise what your expectation of wins is on the Chicago Bears this season?
Yep. 10 wins.
Yes, sir.
10 wins.
All agreed.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
I don't know if my expectation's 10, but you should be able to compete for it.
Oh, absolutely. There's no the offense.
Like, because if your expectation's 10, that means 10 is the floor. I don't think that's true. I don't think 10 is your floor.
My floor is 8.
But look, we might be watching this guy seems very systematic. Polls, right? He's disciplined. He's not. I like Pace because Pace kind of gambled a little bit, but this guy is systematic.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is like he's built. These are the building blocks. This guy that we signed. This is a 1-year deal. It doesn't hurt him. He doesn't hurt us in the cap. So what we're seeing is what he wants to do is build a foundation, and we might finally be the class of our division, and this could be the beginning of it. Because this is a very balanced team, very well put together. So I don't know. I think this is.
I will say, we talked a lot about polls. and it's good that we've talked about how he's constructed this team. We've talked a lot about the pressure on Justin and what's before him. I'm also now looking at Luke not Luke. You know what I'm trying to say. Flus. There you go. Eberflus. Matty E. Now it's all about ultimately what that looks like. Now you've said that we're going to see a lot of passes and stuff like that, but one of the biggest harps, and we've just gone down this whole coaching thing. We've had coaches stifle talent,
Right.
So now it's like, hey, we got the talent. Everyone believes we have the talent. We got the GM who got the right people in here.
See, that's the Nagy effect of a bad coach. That's my man. Dang it! Why do I do that? Jeff Fisher.
The game passed Fish by. Fish was a good coach. Fish was a good coach. The game passed them by.
They were a strong defense, very strong running team. Like, you got to give them some credit, but everybody seems. I mean, some of these coaches will get a good year, but the whole point is sustained, excellence. Can you have some type of continuity?
Yeah.
So, can you get the most out of your talent? Luke Getsy, I think what we saw in that Patriots game last year was like, that's what we're going to see coming out next year. Yeah. Stop trying to force. There's got to be something he can't do. And hopefully we can if we do that, this is a very dangerous squad.
No, and I think the part that people forget is, right, like, that was everybody's first time. Now, whether you like that or not, that's what the facts are. I'm not here to tell you what you like. I'm here to tell you what actually happened. That's what the facts are. That's your first year. So here's if you want to hold your hat on anything and feel confident about anything coming into this season, it took a guy 7 weeks to figure out what was going to best suit a guy. That's impressive. We've seen guys that have had 2 years that haven't figured that out.
Or a different coach.
It took him 7 weeks to figure out how to best adjust the team to Justin Fields. From week 7 on, Justin Fields had one of the highest QBRs in the NFL, all of a sudden the Bears offense was putting up 28 a game, basically, right? Like, all of these things he figured out how to make that offense work. And here's the one thing that all Bears fans agree on. That offense was terrible. So you figured out how to make something out of that. That was like taking, what's the ingredients we got? We got ketchup, salt, and sugar, and Worcestershire sauce. Y'all know how to say that word, right? Worcestershire
sauce.
Worcestershire.
It's the longest word for no reason. No sauce should be named like
right?
7-syllable sauce.
I'm a Béarnaise kind of guy, by the way.
You're what?
I'm a Béarnaise kind of guy.
But those were the ingredients, and you found a way to turn that into a steak. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Luke Getsy did last season.
No, he got an Impossible Burger.
He got an Impossible Burger out of it. You know what I mean? He turned that set of ingredients into an Impossible Burger. So I'm confident coming in, because to this point, the one thing that me and Kid both used to talk about with Nagy, who develops under this guy? Who's developed under Matt Nagy? We literally went through it. Literally nobody got better under Nagy.
No, nobody.
Everybody got worse. From 1 year to the next, just being at training camp, Chase Claypool's better. Justin Fields is definitely better from working with Luke Getsy. Darnell Mooney's kind of working himself back in. I think he's going to get better because he's going back to a position of comfort. Khalil Herbert looks like he's going to be a speedster out here. Baelish Jones looks leaps and bounds better.
Yeah. I was going to say, and the defense is absolutely like.
Well,
you
the
can
defense
just tell.
couldn't help but get better, though.
I mean, everybody.
it was like, hey, we fired everyone. Go figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's flying around. You can tell that just the team is, as a whole, from like the front office down, is just locked in, because this is pretty much everybody's year 2.
Yeah.
This is pretty much everybody's year 2, and to be this locked in and them know, like, hey, we gotta execute. We got this figured out. We know nobody's stopping us doing this. We know nobody's stopping us doing this. Hey, all we need is a pass rusher here. Like, they're ready to surprise a lot of people. The sustained success after this, because I feel like there's going to be, because you can't go anywhere else but up.
Go down.
Sustained success is, well, that if you go down, it's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
but
we got 3 wins last season. We can get 0.
is going to turn them into the class of not only the NFC North, but possibly the whole NFC.
No,
So
100%.
Hey, fellas, I think that's a good show.
That's a good show. I call that a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like button, subscribe
Wrap it up
to the
then.
page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. We appreciate you guys for showing love. For the man formerly known as Ringo J. Stefan Nadine, the super producer Joel Holt in the back, and of course, the pettiest man alive, Mr. P Kid. I am Pat, the designer. I don't know why I put so much emphasis on my name. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace. Bear down. Follow, like, subscribe. All that.